show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
That literally, okay. Sorry if you couldn't hear me. All right. But that literally can cause PTSD. I mean, you can have, nightmares, flashbacks, anxiety, intense stress reactions, just reminders of that trauma. And the numbers are real, you guys. According to the National Center for PTSD, about 11 to 20% of veterans who served in OEF experience PTSD in a given year. For Desert Storm, it's around 12%. For Vietnam veterans, about 30%. Those numbers are not small. And there's so many that are walking around undiagnosed or untreated. Let me just take a sip for that. So many walking around undiagnosed and untreated. So that's why this app matters. It's free, it's confidential, and it's accessible 24/7. So you can get it without an appointment, without waiting, just the tools to help you breathe through a panic or track your symptoms or just manage, when you have those triggers. And, even if you want to connect to professional help, whenever you're ready, they are there. So there's a PTSD coach app, which is the most popular. It gives you like the coping tools, the self-assessments and resources, and helps you to find out more about getting support. There's also like a mindfulness coach, which, an insomnia coach, and a vet change if alcohol is part of how you've been coping. And let me remind you, you don't have to be in a crisis to use these tools. These tools are at your disposal as a veteran. They're there for those, everyday moments, the days when, the past might creep in and your body tenses up and you just need a second to get grounded. So if you're a veteran, don't sleep on this. I want you to share it. I want you to try it. And I want you to keep it in your back pocket for when you are feeling heavy. We'll get that. We'll get that in the ticker. That is the we'll get the link to va.gov for the PTSD coach app in the ticker. All right. So today we have a twofer at the She World Resource Table. Now we're going to talk about the new law that helps veterans afford foreclosure. But this law isn't really new. So I want to take a minute to talk about it. It's really a big win for some veterans, especially anyone if you use your VA home loan and you falling behind on payments. So last month, the VA home loan program Reform Act was signed into law. That's a good thing. And while the headlines say new, I think, and I could be wrong, but it's more of a comeback story because we did have something like this before. See, during the pandemic, the VA offered a partial claim program, and that was a way for veterans to defer their missed payments to the end of their loan without incurring extra interest and things like that, or even change your monthly mortgage. Because if your mortgage is like $1,000 one month and it goes up to $1,500 another month, that definitely could put you in straits. But that program helped thousands of people keep their homes when life got too hard. But that program quietly ended in 2022, and veterans were left without the same support others borrowers had, like those with FHA loans. And so they came up with a temporary solution called VOSP, and that allowed the VA to buy delinquent loans and offer better terms to once again help thousands of veterans get back on track. Then this May 2025, that VOSP program was canceled. And just like that, over 70,000 veterans were left with no solid option to avoid foreclosure. No partial claims, no nothing. And everything got really messy. So what this new law does, the Reform Act, it restores the ability for VA to offer partial claims, which means if you're over 90 days behind, you might qualify. You don't have to pay interest or deferred amount. And also your monthly payment stays the same. And you'll only pay the balance if you sell or refinance, but that's a naturally occurring event if you sell or refinance. So it's a common sense thing, and it's also a lifeline. Veterans are really trying to stay in their home. So if you know someone who is struggling, yes, if you know someone who is struggling, I want you to call 877-827-3702. That's 877 877-827-3702 and speak with a VA loan technician. Guys, help is available again. So if you're behind on your mortgage, 90 days or more, tomorrow's Monday. You get another chance. Give yourself another chance. I want you to call. And, I really appreciate the powers that be that resolve this challenge they turned it into a law, and they did it fairly quickly. So the new law, gives veterans peace of mind and get out of the risk of losing their home. All right. So that is your twofer for the Shiro resource table. Now we are going to go right into our chat of the week, right? I'm talking to the ladies today, but men, you can listen in. So our chat of the week. Have you ever felt like another woman's success somehow made you question your own? Like you should be happy for her, but something in you just starts to compare your own situation to theirs when you really should be celebrating her win? Think about that. I came across an article in Psychology Today last week, and the title was Men Compete for Women and Women Compete with Women. So let's take a breath for that one. Because it's kind of true, right? And it talked about how men tend to compete out in the open. They want to, upgrade their status, their success, their physical strength. They want to show you, usually, to win over someone else, or, just satisfy themselves, or whatever the case may be. But women, I identify as a woman, our competition is often with each other, and it's quieter, and it's more emotional. And it might look like comparison or gossip, or that silence instead of celebrating. Or it may even make you feel like, why not me? So if this is you, I don't want you to feel bad, because I'm not here to, blame or shame, but it's about noticing, taking notice of that. Because when I read that line, I realized how early that we're taught that there's only room for one woman at the table, or one woman on the cover, or one woman to lead the charge. So we start hustling to be that one. And sometimes we forget we don't have to step over each other to rise above, right? I've seen it in the military. I've seen it in business. I've even seen it in spaces that call themselves supportive. How about that? It's kind of like a silent tug of war. Who's prettier? Who's more successful? Who's more well liked? Who's more followed? That kind of stuff. But here's the truth. Maybe it's not true. None of us are winning if we are silently tearing each other down just to stand a little taller, right? None of us are winning. And I want to rewrite the narrative here at Shiro Coffee Chat. Let's not compete or compare. Let's complete. Let's connect. Let's do those types of things. And the truth is if you're trying to be the best version of yourself, you don't have time to do all of that stuff anyway, right? And I know for a fact that it's not you if you're watching right now on the Shiro Coffee Chat, because you're too busy holding the space for others and keeping your own light shining. Right? That's you. That's you. I know it's you. You make the whole room brighter. I just want you to know that. But I want to hear from you. Do you think that women are more competitive with each other than men? Drop a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. I really want to know. I really want to know what you're thinking. I found that very, very interesting. But we're going to move right on along to our tip of the week. Yes. The tip of the week is, what do you do if you're alone and you think you're having a heart attack? Now, a lot of us have taken CPR classes, right? Especially us who are veterans. We, at some point, we probably have taken a CPR class or two. And, in that class, we learn how to, help someone else in an emergency. But let me ask you this. What if the emergency is you? Imagine you're driving home after a long, exhausted day. Then out of nowhere, bam, you get those tight chest pains. Your arms start tingling. You break out in a cold sweat. And you're only a few miles from home. but it suddenly feels like forever, right? What do you do? I want to give a shout out to VFW Post 311 Commander Aretha Spurlock for sharing this post. And when I read it, I was like, wow. And that made me want to share this with all of you because this tip might just save your own life, you know. So if you ever feel like you're about to pass out from a heart attack and you're alone, uh some say you can try the thing called something called cough CPR. I know it sounds wild, but here's how it goes. You take a deep breath and you cough hard like you're trying to clear your throat from the bottom of your soul. Give it everything you got. Every couple of seconds, just keep doing that. You know, that deep breath helps pull the oxygen into your lungs, and the cough may keep your blood flowing and your heart rhythm steady long enough for you to get the help you need. Now, this in by no means replaces 911. That's just one step to get help. Because who knew that? I didn't know what to do. And that's why I wanted to share it with you. And, you know, keeping it real, heart attacks aren't just for happening to older people anymore, right? Some studies have shown that adults under 35, yes, adults under 35, and let me hit you with this, especially women, stress, diet, lifestyle, even the silent conditions we don't see coming, they all play a role. So don't wait until you feel old to care about heart health. Do not wait until then. This is definitely worth talking about and worth sharing. So that is your tip of the week, you guys. And so now we are going to move into my favorite part of the show. I'm waiting for something. Yes, yes. Our guest today is someone I'm excited for you to meet. Marlon Harris, the Chicago Program Manager for Merging Vets and Players, also known as MVP, you guys, right? Marlon, grew up right here on the south side of Chicago because the south side of Chicago is the best side of Chicago. He's from a tight knit family with strong military roots. His grandfather was a command sergeant major who actually helped recruit Milton Lee Oliver. That is another Chicago native and a Medal of Honor recipient who gave his life in Vietnam by smothering a grenade to help save them. Now, you talk about legacy. Marlon, that legacy runs deep. So after 9/11, Marlon followed in those footsteps and he joined the Army. He served in Iraq with the 4th Infantry Division. And even after he left the military, he kept serving. He worked as a government contractor in Afghanistan for several years. But in 2013, everything shifted. We call that a C, a significant emotional event. His daughter, Hannah, hey, Hannah. Hi, Hannah, if you're watching. Hannah was born, and he made the choice to come back home and be present. That transition wasn't easy. I feel you on that. Like a lot of veterans, he struggled to find purpose outside the uniform, but he kept pushing. Eventually, he landed a role at Lyft building military partnerships. Then he found MVP, merging vets and players. What started as a work connection turned into a lifeline. I love this story. He showed up to one session and realized this isn't just for them, it's for me. That's what he realized. Now Marlon's helping other veterans and athletes reconnect, stay active, and find community. He's building a space where people can heal each other, push each other, and grow. Let's welcome Marlon Harris.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Marlon. It's so wonderful to have you. Thank you for coming on the show. So I want to get right into it. First question, what is MVP?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. MVP, Emerging Vets and Players, was founded in 2015 with the veteran Nate Boyer that came before me. So Nate was a former Green Beret as well as a former athlete. He was a Seattle Seahawk, played for a few years there as well. Once he took off both those uniforms, he noticed there was a common connection between veterans and former athletes. There's a loss of purpose when you take off the uniform as a veteran. There's also a loss of purpose when you take off the uniform as an athlete. So he came together with Jay Glazer, insider at NFL Fox, to create Merging Vets and Players, which is a peer-to-peer support group for veterans and former athletes to come together, work out. It addresses the fitness, the mental health space, so that way you have that sense of camaraderie, that sense of locker room that you may have been missing when you were in the military or when you played professional sports. So that way you're just not self-isolating as a veteran or as a former athlete. You get to come back together in the brotherhood and the sisterhood that you once had in the military. And at the core, that's what MVP is. We're a peer-to-peer support group as well. We have 7 chapters across the U.S., as well as a virtual chapter for anybody who can't attend one of our physical locations as well.
Oh wow. I think that is so good to hear that it's a peer-to-peer support group. But I want to go back to your story. So when you left the military and then you went back to Afghanistan as a contractor. What made you do that, my brother?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, right? Um, and to be honest, I was in a rapid deployment cycle out of Fort Hood, so I went to Iraq 2 years out of 3 years. And as a young private back then, specialist, I thought that was going to be my military life for the next 20 years. So I decided to get out. I decided I still wanted to serve in some capacity. I just wanted a little bit more control of my time if I was going to be overseas all the time, right? And so I chose that path of contracting to still support, continue my career, continue what I was doing for the military, but just have a little bit more control of my time as well. I probably would have stayed until the pullout in what I think 2019, but fortunately, I had my daughter, came back here to the states, and been blessed with the opportunity to be able to continue to help veterans and other military members as well.
That is such a beautiful thing. Now, when you talk about merging vets and players, what exactly are we doing here? Like, say for instance, I want to join because let me tell you, I went on the website last night. I was so hyped. You guys have to go to the website. We will have the website up in a minute. You gotta go to the website because it gets you hyped. I can't think of his name but he does. I think he's one of the co-founders, and he was behind. He had soldiers behind him, and they were just talking about the program. And I was like, "Yes, I gotta join. I gotta join." Exactly what do you do? Give me a typical MVP program or one of your programs.
Yeah. So MVP, we show up every week in our chapter. So we have chapters in LA, Dallas, Jacksonville, Atlanta, Phoenix, New York, and we also have our virtual chapter, and then of course our chapter here in Chicago. So to keep it at this level of what I'm doing here in Chicago and what our veterans and athletes are doing here, we meet up every week, every Wednesday. Shouts out to Pal Jim, which has been hosting us since 2017, and then our wonderful trainers there, our lead trainer there, Dwayne Allen. We meet up every Wednesday, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and the first hour is our workout. So we have a workout, different one every week. You come in, you're getting trained by a certified coach. And then after that, after our workout, we shut the doors. Only our members are involved in our huddle, which is all our veterans as well as our former athletes. And we have a safe space where we can open up and talk about anything that's going on in our lives, right? And so what this does is helping our veterans, helping our former athletes. Maybe there's certain things you can't talk to even your family members about, right? Because maybe they just don't understand. Because we're bringing back this brotherhood, this sisterhood that you once had when you were in the military. So at the core of what we do, we're working on your physical fitness as well as your mental health, right? Giving you that space. Every week we show up, rain, sunshine, snow. You'll always have that space, right? And if you're not in one of our cities where we have an actual chapter, then we have virtual where we actually do the same thing. All the members are able to hop online. You have that workout. for an hour. Then after that, it's open to discuss anything that's going on in your lives.
That's amazing because physical fitness changes a lot of things for people. It literally can change your entire life around. So if anyone ever came to me, because when we talk about PTSD, like I talked about earlier, and you talked about, the isolation, it starts with withdrawal. It turns to isolation, and that isolation can lead to other things. I mean, 22 is a number that the military uses for a reason. And so I think this is so great because you have that physical fitness, and then you have I participate in coffee chats, but you got it's literally like a coffee chat after a workout. So I think that is great. Now I know you have a couple of events coming up. You guys always have events and programs and things like that. Tell me about what you got coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. We got one of our biggest events here in Chicago, not just for Merge Investor players, but for all veterans, all veteran organizations across the city. We're super excited about this. We got our 14th annual Chicagoland softball tournament for veterans and as well as for the community coming up next Saturday, August 9th. It's going to be from 8 o'clock to 4 p.m. We're going to be in Logan Square. We're going to be at Thaddeus Kosciuszko Park. And that address is 2732 North Avers Avenue, Chicago. We're gonna have a day full of softball. We're gonna have events for the community. We're gonna have food for the kids. So bring your children out if you're in the area. We're gonna have a DJ, a bouncy house, tons of other opportunities as well. We're able to partner with some great organizations. The White Sox giving away tickets for those who attend as well. So we'd love to have you out. This is an amazing event. It's been going on for the past 13 years here in Chicago for veterans. And not only Merge Investment players, we got to work with a lot of other great organizations. So definitely shouts out to Western Governors University, CETA, Chicago Veterans, the Mayor's Office, Chicago Mayor's Office, Warrior Summit, all these different organizations coming together to put on this wonderful softball tournament. Veterans can get out, have a great time. The community can come out, bring your family. We're going to have an amazing time this weekend. So we're looking forward. If you're in the Chicago area, you're a veteran, don't have anything to do next Saturday, we'd love to see you out there. Then as well this month, we're partnering with Governor State University Park. We're going to have, this is actually our second session out there. So we're looking to bring MVP out there. We're currently just in the West Loop area of Chicago, but we're looking to expand out to other areas of the city to get a little bit closer to our veteran population. So we'll be in University Park August 18th. One of our amazing members, Danya Corral, is a certified yoga coach. She's going to be giving out free yoga training, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, Governor State University. Come on out there if you're going to be in the area. And then for anything else we got going on, come to bestofplayers.org. Go to our events page, and you can see everything that's coming up.
That is amazing. Yeah, I will definitely be at that session at University Park, and it's yoga too. I will definitely be at that session. And so I want to know, and clearly MVP is making an impact all over the nation, if not all over the world, with veterans. So what kind of impact have you seen in your life being a part of merging vets and players? And then I want you to answer the question, what kind of impact or change have you seen being a part of merging vets and players to other veterans?
Yeah, absolutely. And just using myself as an example at the forefront, I've dealt with every issue that every other veteran could think of has dealt with, right? And so I think with a lot of veterans, when they got out, maybe they had too much structure. They were trying to get away from having to be at formation every day at 5 a.m., right? And then being in another formation. So a lot of veterans, when they get out, they want to have that sense of freedom, right? But you still want to have some sort of accountability with your battle buddies, right? And so what I noticed in my own life and how powerful it was just having that weekly accountability, having a battle buddy that I could say, hey, I need to come work out. I haven't worked out. Let me use this space, work out with my battle buddies. And what I've noticed in my life is that it encouraged me to do that on my own time, right? Make myself accountable so that way when I show up at the next section next week, I can say, hey, what did you do this past week? And my battle buddy says, hey, I did 5 days of workouts. I made sure I got my house in order. I organized everything. I went and saw the doctor about an issue that I had going on, right?
Mhm.
And so the same thing in my life, it just helped keep me accountable to the things that I need to be accountable for. And what I've seen in my life, I'm probably in the best physical shape I've been in since leaving the military just because of merging vets players, keeping the, as well as other members, we have some dynamic members, right? Speaking especially female veterans, last year our True Grit winner of the year was Denise Montoya out of
She's
Chicago.
also a Shiro Coffee Club ambassador. Shout out to Denise Montoya, Air Force.
Yeah, out of
Hey,
she's great out of Chicago, doing great things. Even
yeah.
talk to Congress on behalf of female veterans, right? So these are some of the impactful veterans that we have coming through our program, and they show up for themselves. I just encourage you to get out, right? It doesn't cost you anything. You come in there, you're going to get a free workout, personal trainer, and then you're going to have your brothers and sisters there always that got your back. Our mantra is, hey, we got your back, right? If you need to reach out to somebody at 3 a.m. on Friday, you got battle buddies that you can reach out to that could be dealing with the same thing that you could speak to, right? We also have a clinical director trained on staff that's always ready to take your call as well. So that's the impact I've seen in my life as well as some of our other members' lives.
Wow, that's amazing. Guess what? We are out of time, Marlon. So I want to thank you for coming on Shiro Coffee Chat. Marlon Harris, merging vets and players. If you are not part of the program, you should be. And guess what? You can join me on at University Park for their second session of yoga. That's what date is that, Marlon?
That's going to be Monday, August 18th from 6 to 8.
We will be there. And as always, keep your heart strong and your coffee Shiro. I will see you guys next week.